In this video, I'll demonstrate how you can turn your data frames into temporary views. A temporary view allows SQL-like operations on a data frame without persisting data. So let me demonstrate. I have a data frame here, df, that stores the country data. I cannot directly run SQL queries on this data frame. So for example, if I create an SQL cell and type select star from df, then this will fail. Table or view df cannot be found. But what I can do is I can convert this data frame df into a temporary view and then reference that temporary view inside my SQL statement. So let's head over to the docs. To create a temporary view, in the data frame class, we can use any of these methods. Note that create temp view and create or replace temp view do the same thing, except for this one will replace a temporary view with the same name if it already exists. And the same goes for create global temp view or create or replace global temp view. So a temp view is a session scoped view. So the lifetime of this temporary view is tied to the Spark session that was used to create the data frame. With a global temp view, that will be an application scoped view. So this will last across multiple Spark sessions, but persists only to the lifetime of the Spark application. So let's start by clicking on create or replace temp view. So on the data frame object, you do df.create or replace temp view and then provide a name for that view. And it converts that into a temporary view, which you can then reference in your SQL statements. If I click on create or replace global temp view, then that's also the same, except for when you reference the view in your SQL statements, you need to specify the global temp system database. So global temp dot and then the view name. So let me demonstrate. So I'm going to create a temporary view and a global temporary view on this data frame. So first I'll do df.create or replace temp view. And I will just call it countries_TV for temporary view. So that should create the temporary view. And now let me also create a global temp view. So create or replace global temp view. And I will change the TV to GV and run this. Okay, so now we can run queries by referencing this view. So in an SQL cell, I can do select star from countries_TV. And now this should work. And as you can see, it does. So this temporary view is created from this data frame df. So we can't just reference the data frame df in our SQL. We have to turn it into a temporary view and then reference that. Now, if I try to reference the global view, then I have to do global_temp.countries_gv. Otherwise, it won't work. And as you can see, the output is the same. Now, as I mentioned, since the temporary view is session scoped, if I open a new notebook, connect it to my cluster, and then do a SQL cell and select star from countries_TV, it won't work because it's only tied to the Spark session. However, if I do select star from the global temporary view, then it will work because this is tied to the Spark application, as you can see. So this works. When I terminate my cluster and restart it again, then this global view will no longer persist. Great. So that was temporary views in PySpark.